Toss records aside, at this point, we're almost three-fourths of the way through the season. Kind of assess your team. Is this where you kind of thought that these ladies would be at as far as developmental?
It's really hard to say because in the beginning of the year, you're not really sure where you're going to be with so many new faces. With the successful preseason or pre-conference we had, we would like to have been a little bit farther along in the conference than we are. But I really tried not to get too high or too pumped up after the preseason. I knew how tough our conference is, and I knew, with our youth, there was going to be some challenges along the way. So, I feel pretty good about where we are, and we played the top of the conference. I talked to the team a little bit about this. Going into the season, I would have said if we could have a split with UIC and Wright State going into the year, I probably would have taken it. Obviously, when you get the first one, you always want that second one. You get greedy, but I'm not too upset about where we are. There's a few games that we obviously would have liked to have had that we didn't get, but we got some games that maybe we didn't deserve. Against UIC, we cut down on our turnovers from the first game to the second game. We cut down on their offensive rebounds from the first game to the second game. We cut down on their field goal percentage from the first game to the second game. So we did a lot of things better. We just didn't shoot the ball as well the second game as we did the first game. So, it is what it is.
John, is there any common denominators in your last two games, two losses?
Turnovers. Both Wright State and UIC force probably the top, the most in the conference as any team. Green Bay is up there, and that's we just didn't take care of the ball very well.
One thing I've noticed is that when you're frustrated, you'll walk over and kind of take a drink. Is there any rhyme or reason to that? Just to kind of calm your nerves?
You don't want to say things that you probably shouldn't, so it always helps for me to just go take a drink of water, whether that be at the referees or we have a bad turnover or whatever the situation may be. So that does help me to an extent.
John, I don't want to call it a must-win, but after Wednesday, your next three are on the road. So how important is this game against Oakland?
Yeah, honestly, if we want to finish in the top, 2 or 3 or 4 of the conference, they're all pretty important. There are some teams though that have not played the top portion of the conference, and we're already finished with Wright State. We have Green Bay at home. I think we're sitting in good shape. Every game's critical. Is any game a must win? We try not to think about them like that. We just want to play our best basketball. I don't necessarily think we did that against UIC. They got us out of our comfort zone, and we did some uncharacteristic things. I think Wright State is really good and really, really good at home. They kind of had us from the get-go there. I'm after playing them again, I'm extremely happy we were able to get one of those two. We probably shouldn't have with they have, I think they're starting 4 seniors and all very good players and the player of the year in the conference. So we're just trying to focus on Oakland. Oakland beat Green Bay, which is a significant win that shows how good they can be, and then they go and they lose to Milwaukee. So they're up and down. We will probably get them at one of their good games, so we're gonna have to play really well. But we're looking forward to it. I was happy with our practice today. The team had a lot of energy. They got after it. They really wanna win and get back on that winning note. So that's all I can ask for.
It's pretty much slow this team down and not let them go offensively the last time.
Well, I'm talking to Wright State's head coach, and he said there's no option but to outscore them. So and then Milwaukee, I think it was 66-60. So they held them to a really low point playing all zone. They didn't shoot it very well. I think Popke and maybe Nash combined for 10 from 3 or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what the numbers were, but they were 4 of 20 maybe from 3, so they didn't shoot it very well. It just depends on the night. We're obviously going to try to play really good tough, hard-nosed defense and hold them to a low number. Ultimately, you have to put the ball in the basket, and so if we can semi-contain them and us play pretty well on the offensive end, it'll give us, and being at home, it'll give us a good chance.
For a team that scores a lot of points, how important is it to limit the offensive rebounds on their end of the floor and also limit the turnovers too?
Both of those are very important. They're not quite as going to the boards like a UIC does or even a Wright State, but they're very capable. They got a couple crucial ones on us down the stretch at their place. So we've been focused on boxing out and rebounding all year. We're going to try to continue to do that and keep them off of the glass. Again, it's just we made a lot of mental mistakes at their place the first time through, so we're going to try to limit those a little more this time around.
John, now that you've kind of gone through the conference, you said earlier Green Bay was here than kind of everybody else. Do you still agree with that, or is things kind of as the gap been closing?
I still agree with that. I do think Wright State can be incredibly tough. They have to go to Green Bay, which is a difficult place to play. So I still think Green Bay's going to be the top team, but if anybody can challenge them, it's going to be Wright State, and it's going to be fun. I'll watch that game if I can.